Alright, guys. It's time. Start. Oh, the final trial. The final trial. The trial former. Because obviously, we're not going to finish this tonight. Alright. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court, defendant lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright. But there's no defendant. We're trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if... Edgeworth, knowing you, I've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. That number does belong to whom you suspect, and no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. Oh, really? This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gan has on her, it's now. Okay. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Oh no. Oh no. Bitch is gonna be like, hey, if you choose make her guilty, I'll release Emma. Chief Gant. Don't let. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Edgy. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. I think he's just guessing at what people are saying because, like what Gumshoe said, like he doesn't hear anything. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, was asking me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me.
Oh, I get it. Freaking Gant blackmailed Lana because he has Emma in his custody.
On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office.
No, Lana. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services.
But Lana.
Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there is no further need to continue this trial, even if Miss Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come on, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution will likely change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm emphasizing my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you? That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness. Please state your name and occupation.
My name's Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I wanted to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry. but I'm afraid I'm going to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember, this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant?
Yes, it most certainly is.
Well, okay then.
You sure gave in fast.
Now,
please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead the truth behind this trial. Let's go. It's finally time. 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
Sorry, Emma, for having to do this, but we're gonna have to press you on everything.
And also, let me save, since this is,
No, don't load, no.
Just gonna save over this.
Two years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, right? Yes. She was second in command under the deputy chief of police, Gant. My sister. She was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Detective Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair.
I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I want to play it that day. I want to play that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised me to take me to dinner after she finished her work.
A man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on that day of the ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest.
When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right?
Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look, and that's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and delicate and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
I assume that was also why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then, but
Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sun flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman. Victim. Let's hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago?
Yes. So what's so scary about this trial?
And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw?
Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
Picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Let's ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew. I believe it was a very important meeting. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost.
You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right?
Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now. Whenever I close my eyes.
That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken.
But I did draw it, I swear. I'm not just imagining it.
It's the picture that Emma drew. That reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us?
The man.
That must have been a real shock.
Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly.
Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage.
When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them.
Ellen doesn't have any reason to lie. Well, Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much as this as she can. And we can. We'll just see if we examine this again. Will this be added to the court record? Okay, so we just gotta show this. Okay, let's present it. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture, and yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it Ah, what's this? Yes, what is that?
Hey, that's it. That's a picture I drew.
Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh. These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Miss Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here, where they were torn from each other. So you see, Miss Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order. Order. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute. That list was torn in half. Then that means... Your Honor. Oh, you're right, Miss Wright. Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. Oh my god, why? Oh, it's the blue badger. That's the thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. List of evidence in the SL9 incident. Half of this list was found in Gant's desk. Very well, witness. Let's just check this out. Okay. So why is it like this? And why is the blue badger on this? Would you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. Okay, Emma's picture.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright, so... Did you draw this picture right after the incident?
I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
Sorry about that. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Sky. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should have still been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? So, at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue?
No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lighting was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor.
So you were knocked to the floor?
Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when lightning flashed.
Poor Emma. Just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flash?
After that, then I must have fainted. Yeah, they say that.
You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place?
No, I'm sorry.
A flash of darkness only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused that witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here.
Anyway, this picture.
Sorry for asking so many questions, for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw?
Of course, this is the exact scene.
It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? When I'm saying that you, I'm saying possibly Gant, maybe. No, of course not. I better watch out, or you might find a way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, it's clearly a contradiction here. Yeah, she said, oh yeah, I saw everything clearly and whatnot, but how can you say, oh, this image of, oh, this shadowy figure that you drew, but you didn't draw any, noticeable details, about the figures. But that would contradict what? What would that contradict? Like, something involving, the people there. That would be the contradiction. The knife. how come why is, the weapon just a square? Why isn't, like, in knife shape? No, it should be knife shape. Hmm. Well, the knife that I used, that's a knife, is that it? There's this. How can I? Oh, never mind then. Never mind. I thought it. Like, there's something here. Because this is not exactly what you saw. If there was a knife, then that should have said something. Not. What is this? I mean, like, considering the position, like, it looks, I don't know. Where was this saying that it was stabbed? Because it doesn't really look like, yes, okay, he says stabbed from the back, but the image showing here doesn't really, like, shows that it's being stabbed from the back. Looks like kind of gonna be stabbed from the front, so how about that? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Would it be the knife? The contradiction lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see that the tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. You can see the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was a murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Oh, what's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of a knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness' memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at that time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But There was no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There was another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh. Order. 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 Are you saying that the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place that day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the Kings of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. Don't know why I want to say Drake. It is my belief that somewhere in the story, there was a lie.
I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife.
That's true. And there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been another one? No, there could have been one. And I know exactly what it is. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observation error.
Mr. Wright.
In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. This is the real murder weapon. Okay, now here's the thing. Do I show the king's the trophy, or do I show the picture? I'm gonna show the trophy. Anything's broken here. It's you. Huh? I'm sure this must be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. But it makes sense, though. Dang it. Okay, boom. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ugh. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding.
That's a broken knife.
As we concluded earlier, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order, order, order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shielded knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. His broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the king of prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would have been reversed. What do you mean? I mean, the man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? Seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions.
Wait, I remember now. I remember everything.
Witness?
Mr. Edgeworth,
What is it?
could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back.
I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it.
What? You drew that?
That's right. The list wasn't 2.5 at the time I drew this. All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Perhaps it would be best we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Sky?
Yes, Your Honor.
First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. And I think, this is where I should call it a time, because we are a bit over time, and I did start going because homework and stuff like that. So yeah, we're calling it here. So yeah, probably, you know, no, let's continue on. Let's continue on. Gotcha for a bit there, but oh, sorry about that. Oh, wait.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well...
Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further.
Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defense chair.
But you can't do this. You've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that?
Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin this cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter.
Emma's recollection. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark?
Yes, at least I think it was him.
You think?
All I could really see was shadows.
The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you... Why would you do something so dangerous?
What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall.
She seemed so convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife.
Well, I didn't know at that time. When that dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person.
What do you mean, think?
It all happened so fast, and I was in a shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it was all kind of a blur.
Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in no matter of seconds, little disorientation is only natural.
I saw the man about to stab the other person. I thought it was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife.
What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Are you sure about this?
Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here.
But it was the chief of detectives who thought this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable.
I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember.
Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face, with its winning smile and all?
That's right. I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
This is pointless. That thing could have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think what she saw, what she did. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then please, by all means, tell us what this shadow really was. What was it? What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? And I will say... Alright. Who is this Blue Badger really? Maybe? Yeah, I think I might know. Like, I think I remember from the layout of the room. I think it was possibly, you know, Gant's like window, and it had like 3 like kind of like curved air parts, and possibly where Emma saw, like on the ground looking up, whoever's person there managed, you know, fit right in the middle there. But possibly the Blue Badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yes, she certainly saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on this fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room.
Mr. Wright.
In this room? Very well, Miss Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look like. Alright. Is it the jar? The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. Oh, okay. Okay, so my prediction was a little bit off, But that's what exactly is this? Is that? I believe it's some sort of jar.
But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger.
Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our point of view, our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle. Alright, so... Uh... Hold on, wait. No, wait, rotate. Was it like this? Oh, come on. It looked just like it. Horizontally. I mean, that's what they did. I mean, if we do it like this? No, like... And would it be like this? Cause like, like this way would be like, it looks much more like it. Come on, like this, right? Oh, come on, that should have been it. Vertically or more horizontally? Oh, come on. Like, I see it, but just like, it's like the like if there was like, you know, a light beaming from it, like that could possibly be better. Because the missing piece has to be involved with this, just, you know. Come on, like, how is this not like... Nope. That's... This has to be it. Come on. There we go. You know, I had that position so many times. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar resembling the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witness on that day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoy Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar in this is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near on Sky's desk. The witness testified herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Jork and Marshall did not take place in Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Miss Wright? I finally figured it out. Let me just say once more. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She says she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. The next instance, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have been the impact of the man made when he knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor, while holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King and Prosecutor's trophy. No, Miss Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there was another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Just say, Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorized, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
You mean Sir Marshall died because of me? No!
I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with their own testimony. This is unprecedented.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances,
Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How could you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her?
imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it?
I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall?
Evidence?
I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes. It certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have any evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony.
I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the instance are dead.
We certainly can't get dead people to testify.
Unless we have, Maya here, It would have been great if Maya was here.
This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. I mean, there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of a person who took his life, in one manner or another.
That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Such a message exists.
I've got to think back to the court record.
The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. I mean, there's blood on this. I mean, well, I can't see anything with his blood on here. Like, unless it's like, oh, hello, look, there's a little secret message. Like, well, what's the blood for? Like, it does look like it's been smeared. dark red stains must have been blood traces from the incident 2 years ago. Only fragments found in the chief. Okay. All I'm gonna guess is this is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession.
Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister is a murderer?
Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is to not accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek: the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Now then, Miss Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. I'm guessing it's this. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name?
If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. And my headphones ran out of charge. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a pink trail of blood on this jar. Looks like someone wiped blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there was a line there, here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent.
No.
Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Okay. Well, guessing it's this. Okay, nothing here. So from here, here, and then it's the defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, But in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Sky. And that's where we're gonna call it. That's what we're gonna call it for this. Yeah, we're gonna save it for a cliffhanger. Cliffhanger right here. Haha. Yep. Alright, so Yep, so Yeah, I got 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes. Let's see. Let's continue on to a little bit more. Oh man, like this is the final chapter. I'm sorry, guys. Like I can't just, I know this is the final like trial, part one of the final trial, but just you know, I gotta see this through to the recess or whatever midway point. All right, Seaworthy. Can I say I didn't warn you? Chief Gant. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convinced because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on in the prosecutor's office? They might have some man may sent innocent man to his death. How can you just stand there like it was his fault? Order. 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 Order! The gavel's pounding fell on Dev's ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. There's that to be continued. Yeah, it only took like 2 more minutes. Only 2 more minutes, but that is what you call we're almost there, guys. Probably after this, this episode, probably 2 more episodes left until like to complete this final trial. So I really hope you guys enjoy this, cause like, oh, we're almost done with this Let's Play. This Let's Play has been on hold for many years, and we're finally getting done to this. Oh God, thank goodness. To be honest, I was not expecting this to be such a long Let's Play. I personally thought it was gonna be shorter, cause it was a GBA game slash early DS game, so I thought it wouldn't be that long. Like heck, like most like modern day games are like this long too, so but I hope you guys are enjoying this. Please let me know in the comment section like what you guys enjoyed from this, this Let's Play so far. And as we're getting near the end, if I missed some stuff, some trivia about the game, let me know in the comment section down below. And like always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, favorite with all your friends. Check out links in the description below for all my social media links. And I'll see you guys soon with my next video. Power out. Yeah.